So
Alright.
you are Aiden,
Yes.
and I'm Martin.
Yep.
And this is our first podcast. We did an attempt with...
Done a couple of tries now,
yeah.
so think we've this time ironed out the kinks, theoretically.
so.
Yeah, as I was saying, so in this sort of episode, I suppose we'll mainly talk about you a little bit, your history of how you wound up in Sri Lanka, back in Sri Lanka.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
yeah, if you want to kick us off.
Yeah, let's go. I was born in 1980, and I was adopted to Sweden after 2 months.
Yep.
And the story behind all the adoption is that, yeah, my mother couldn't take care of me.
Yep.
And gave me to an orphan home or children's home.
So you didn't know, so your parents didn't know your then Swedish parents. There was no actual connection to that prior to anything.
No, my Swedish parents, they got a miscarriage.
Yep.
And the doctor said that they couldn't have a child. So they wanted to adopt.
Yep.
So I don't know how the selection of a kid becomes. But if
Yeah,
they're
yeah,
just
yeah.
going there, yeah, this one, or not this one. But it was me, they
Yep.
adopted. And I grew up on the countryside
Yep.
in Sweden, on the southeast, in a small town, Kalmar.
Okay.
And
okay. I've never been to Europe, so I can't
No.
remember.
So,
the names don't really.
If you think my hometown, and then you go east, you go to Moscow, over the
Okay.
Baltic Sea, so it's just...
So it's sort of like right up the north of Sweden, is it? Or
No, southeast.
south? Okay.
Southeast.
Yeah, I'm just trying to picture
Yeah,
a
southeast.
little bit in my head, but
So close to the Baltic Sea. And really, the funny thing with my story is that everything went well in the beginning
yep.
until we had started talking, because I started wondering, because they got 2 more kids, my brothers, Richard and Philip.
Yep.
So my parents got 2 more kids. And I started wondering why I'm brown. And
What sort of about? Do you know? Remember what
this
sort of?
must been, they told me I was adopted when I was 6 years old.
Okay.
I don't know if that's early or late or
Yep.
whatever it is, but something happened there. Because I was a pretty happy kid and everything, but I still remember when they told me that I have a family in Sri Lanka,
Yep.
and something just...
So you actually can still remember that actual conversation?
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it was kind of a really... It did a deep impact on my life.
Yep.
Because the only thing I could do at that moment was just screaming. And I
Okay.
scream, I'm going to go, because my parents was very nice, and really we can go back to Sri Lanka and we can travel there, and I just screaming that I'm going to go back to Sri Lanka, I'm going to find my family, real family. And
Okay.
I was such a mess in that moment, because it was really like somebody else pulled the rug.
Yeah. I suppose, and I would have put sort of a lot of things into perspective for you as well, sort of at that time, and it would have.
The feeling I felt was very lonely suddenly.
Okay. Yep.
From feeling that I was a part of something, and just in a second, just not a part of anything.
Yep.
And I think that situation made me very scared.
Okay.
And I think fear and anger goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
So
yep.
instead of being sad out to people, I just become
Sort of-
angry.
Okay.
Just pissed off
Yep.
at everything. And I trying to get rid of that feeling of sadness by doing stupid things.
Yep.
So I just started to do crazy things.
Sort of about what age would you, or literally like straight
This-
after?
Yeah,
Yep.
6, 7. I think I was 7 when I start like doing weird things in school and
Okay.
starting small fights for no reason.
Yep.
And things like that. And I remember maybe I was 9 or something like that. We started shoplifting, because it was a shop, small, where you can buy food and things like that, normal things. And we steal peanuts, I remember.
Yep.
But the weird thing there was that I felt ashamed because I grew up in a good home where
And you knew you were doing the wrong
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
but it was sort of,
Yeah.
I suppose, acting out maybe for like attention,
yeah, I
things like
think
that.
so.
So
But I also remember that I break up my brothers. They have this. I don't know if you had it in Australia. Like looks like pig, a pig when you put coins in.
oh, piggy bank,
Yeah,
piggy bank, yeah.
So I know.
You are meant to break those though. That's why you smash it, but
But it
your
was
own,
a
so-
kind of lock under
Yeah,
in
yeah,
plastic. So I
yeah.
just took a knife and then I just pulled the
still got
money out.
yeah. Okay.
But my mother got me on that, and I know that I did things wrong, but it was something with excitement or feelings.
I suppose that's like with a lot of kids around that sort of age that have some kind of troubles at home. I guess a lot of different reasons.
Yeah,
And
because
sort of
my parents are really nice and they hardworking and my brothers was nice, but I
Yeah.
just
so you got two brothers.
yeah.
Yep.
So it's 5 years between me and the youngest brother, and 3 years between the middle brother.
Okay.
So I'm born
So-
80, Richard 83, and then 85.
Yep.
And really everything become a mess because after these criminal behaviors start just to escalate.
And I suppose at such a young age
Yeah.
as well, your parents would be.
Yeah, it must be so. Growing up on the countryside, also that everybody knows each other.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm
Small community. Yeah.
and
Country
I'm
town.
the only brown
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah. It's
So
yeah.
what,
Sweden. I suppose that sort of
we was
yeah.
two adopted, I think, in school when I started, and he was very smart because he was adopted from India.
Okay. Yep.
Shout out to Marcus for
Yep.
being so quiet and good behavior.
Yep.
And but I was just this outgoing person
Yep.
because I have probably so much anger and so much confusion.
Yeah. I suppose it would have been quite traumatic really to
Yeah.
have that sort of without sort of knowing at the time and then
Yeah,
yeah.
At the same time, my I think it's just after they told me about adoption, they showed me a photo of my mother from Sri
Okay.
Lanka. So
Yeah.
I had that photo, but it was so confusing because
So your parents, so they actually did meet.
Yeah.
Actually meet. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
because-
Yep.
my mother in Sri Lanka, her decision was to kill us. She couldn't take care of us, so when I was born, she tried suicide when she was pregnant with me.
Okay.
But-
Yep.
She didn't make. It was somebody saved her, and then she
Yep.
made a decision of.
Do you know what age were they when
I
they
think
had
she
you?
was in her mid-20s,
Okay.
I
Okay.
think.
And you were her first.
Yeah,
sort
I
of
was
child.
her first.
Okay. Yep.
And she had two child. I have a sister.
Yep.
My brother is dead, but I was the first, oldest.
Okay.
But her decision was to put her and me on the train tracks and
Yep.
get killed by the Colombo train going
Jeez.
down south.
Crazy.
Yeah, but her best friend told that, please, when he's born or she is born, give it to me and I take her to her children's home.
Yep.
So I had this confusion because I have my Swedish parents, and then I also have the confusion of why they give a baby away.
Yeah. Yep.
Why do somebody do that?
Yeah.
Because I didn't know the history.
Yep.
So, and in the papers later on, I find that father unknown.
Yep.
So I was super pissed off my father, but at the same time I have these daydreams I remember so well. Because it could go 1 year, I didn't think about adoption at all of my family.
Yeah.
Then 1 year it could be...
It would sort of just come in waves.
Yeah. And I remember I had this weird dream that my father was this rich man, and one day it's gonna come a letter in the
Yeah,
mailbox,
yeah,
hey,
yep.
you are my lost
Well, I
son."
suppose back then as well, as we sort of said, there was no like internet, YouTube. You couldn't just look up Sri Lanka and sort of see what it was like in any way, I suppose. So
The only thing I had was the map we had in school, this big one you
Yeah.
drag down
Yep.
on the wall, and okay, today is Sri Lanka.
Yep.
But that's it. And I it was a very confused situation, and I also know that because I started stealing and doing all these stupid, weird behaviors, they took me to therapy very early.
Yep.
Very early, like I think like 8 years old.
Okay,
I got
okay.
in connection with the therapist, but they couldn't do the connection to adoption. So I think that those studies was not really done in Sweden.
Yep.
So it,
I suppose in the 80s as well, maybe it was.
yeah, something was missing, and about. And my family tried to protect me in anyways. We lived on the countryside, but I just tried in my teenager, just started to escape into the city because 1 to 6th grade we went on the countryside school. 7 to 9 we moved into the city for
Okay.
school.
Yep.
So we still lived on the countryside.
As in your whole family moved there.
No.
So like a boarding
No,
school sort of
yeah,
thing.
School.
Yep.
You
Yep.
just you go 1 to 6 in your environment.
Yeah,
you
and
went
then
to
you
the
go.
city.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the world was just different.
Yep.
Just different, and also meet other people with other color, like it was immigrants and so on. It was no immigrants where I grew up.
Yep.
And then the biggest issue for me that started was about I started smoking weed around 14,
Okay.
but it really didn't work on me. But I still smoked because it was cool.
Cool. So, yeah. Okay.
But then my mother and father thought that it was a good idea. I shouldn't be home in my town over summer because I hanged out with this. What's the name of it was some gang of street fighters.
Yep.
And they asked, no, you
Okay.
go away. So they sent me on this beautiful sail trip from Scotland, in Oban, down to Isle of Man and Dublin.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But the problem was that I meet up with some other people there that's smoking hash. And hash just connected, like,
Yep.
I smoked weed maybe 10, 15 times. But
And then it's
the
sort of-
hash just...
Well, they say it's a bit of a what do they say, gateway drug.
Yeah.
Sort of the.
So
Smoking
it's
the
just connected with me, and I was supposed to be out on this trip for 4 or 5 weeks, and it was after 2 weeks I smoked,
Yep.
and I just fuck this weed. I going home.
Okay,
So I
okay,
just
yep.
went, and it's such a weird thing because what cannabis did for me, it just solved all my problems.
Yep.
It made me feel less afraid. I felt super comfortable. I could deal with myself in a different way. Didn't need to be angry. And the only thing I want to do was smoke. So directly when I come home to Sweden, I called one of my friends and just bought 5 grams.
It's funny that because when I've smoked weed, which I've never really smoked it that much, but
Yeah.
the times I'm the opposite. Like I get the anxiety. Like I'm the complete opposite of that. So rather than I just know some people really it calms them down. I'm like the other way. So it's sort of
and
interesting that
it was really like a medicine for me.
yeah
But medicine mental, but it didn't do anything good for me
yeah
outside.
Yeah,
Like,
yep.
It just made me more lazy,
Sp-
less
yeah.
motivation,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to do anything. And sorry. And as a kid, I tried to find shortcuts to everything.
okay
If
yep.
I know what I know today, that I got the golden ticket to move, get adopted to Sweden,
Yeah,
and could get a super good education.
Yep.
But I didn't know where
And I suppose at that time as well, there was the war
Yeah.
in Sri Lanka as well, which I suppose you wouldn't have known about
No.
probably at that age and sort of in the 80s. So
I see some news and things like that
Yeah.
about it. But it really escalated all this. So when I was 16, I went to I had some contact families because my mother and father, I bless their soul, I was just a maniac.
okay, yeah,
Just making up problems, just doing crimes, just doing all these difficult things that.
Did you get arrested at all for
Oh,
it?
yes,
A lot of-
yes,
okay,
yes,
okay.
yes.
So
A lot. But the funny thing, and the social, what we call social security or social service, you say?
Okay,
Yeah,
yep,
social
yep,
service
yep,
is
yep.
the word. I was connected to them very early.
Yep.
So when you get arrested in an early age, you don't really get to jail or prison or something like that.
Yeah, you sort of get like
Yeah,
all the
need to talk.
yeah.
And but at the age of 16, I done so much stupid things, and my city I lived in, they just, you can't be here. You're just doing weird, stupid, criminal things.
Okay.
So they sent me on this in a family home. But
Is this your parents or is this the actual like legal system?
foster home.
Foster, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I get sentenced in a trial for 6 months to go to this place. And of some reason, when I arrived there, they decided I'm going to be there 1 year, just over my head. Like,
Okay.
No, we.
Sort of bad behavior or something, or they.
No, they just said when we arrived, no, we don't do this for 6 months. And social service been in contact. They don't just do that in a second. This was
Okay.
planned.
Yeah.
But when we arrived, they just, no, you need to stay 1 year.
Okay.
And I had a girlfriend at that time, and I just, shit, I'm going to be here 1 year. And I remembered it.
So you sort of couldn't leave. Was it kind
No,
of? Okay.
I had to be there.
So like a juvenile detention type thing.
Yeah,
sort of
because
like
I
that, or?
was on a sentence from Swedish court.
Yep.
So I couldn't just leave. So it was, you're going to stay here for 12 months and make your life better.
Okay.
And I had it really, I remember when my parents left and I see the car driving away and I'm walking up to this house, that I was thinking, I remember that very well, because this is in November and the trees started to, it was some apple on the trees and it was this cold but very fresh air that Europe has, that Sweden has,
Yeah.
when the winter time is coming.
Do you remember what year? Like how
This
old?
was 1996, November.
So you would have been about 16 then.
10, I think.
Yeah.
So I was 16. And I remember that I had this hope of, okay, maybe this is the place
Yeah.
that everything's going to be fine.
Yeah.
Because they seem to be very nice people.
Yeah, well, because see, I mean, I've never really been in that type of situation,
Yeah.
but I would imagine you would sort of be, even yourself, wanting to
Yeah.
wanting to get out of this sort of spiral
Yeah.
of
And
So-
I really had this hope that everything's going to be fine. And it started good. I learned discipline in one way.
Yeah.
What discipline is, I didn't really get it
get
into my
the
system.
get the hang of it a bit.
But I remember the first task I had on this place. He took me. He's dead now. Tony is his name. He's dead now. I think he died one and a half year ago.
Okay.
He took me down to this pile of wood where you put in.
So
fire.
it wasn't just you there that were like
At
with
that time, it was
Okay,
only
okay.
me. So
So-
it was a normal family.
Yeah,
with
okay.
a big company and everything. And they have 2 children. One was 1 year older than me, and one was.
so it wasn't like a big sort of facility. You
No.
were actually just living with a
Yeah,
family. Okay.
yeah,
okay,
yeah. So
okay.
I just had a room in there, and
Yeah,
they have
yeah.
foster childs before and
Yeah.
so on.
Okay.
But so my first task was to just fix this pile of wood to fill up, so we always, because the heat was with fire in
Yep.
this house.
Yep.
So just keep, so everybody have hot water in the morning and so on. So I just did that back and forth, and but the weird thing with this home was that his wife, this is so weird, and his wife was so beautiful. She was
Sweet. It was Sweden. So
yeah.
sorry.
And she was really hot, and she was 40,
Okay.
and I was 16,
Yeah.
and I don't know I know exactly how this happened, but they let us drink sometimes,
Okay.
which
Which
is
is-
not
yeah, that's,
this is not so,
Yeah.
but they did, and they had 2 guys that been living at this home before, coming there,
Yep.
and they smoke weed
Okay.
or hash. So they had some weed and hash with them. So they just asked me, "You smoke?" Yes, of course I smoke.
So they weren't living at the house.
No,
they'd sort of just come and
Yeah,
like because
they-
they sort of finished the.
It's
the,
like follow up.
Yeah,
thing
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
something like
Okay.
that. So we just started smoking, and we was drinking at this party they had in the house beside
Yep.
the normal house. And I remember I went in because I was both drunk and high. This is foster home in Sweden, guys.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. I think it's a little bit different to what I
yeah, it
what I
shouldn't
picture
be
when you
like
said
that.
sort of.
And it gets
foster
worse,
home.
I promise you. It just gets so crazy. So she's sitting in the sofa, and I'm drunk, and I'm 16
Okay.
year boy.
I'm wondering
And
where this is leading.
It's
Okay.
going this way. So of some reason she just said, "I'm hot," and I'm too drunk and too high to understand what the fuck she's saying. And then she just, "You want something to eat?" And I just got the munchies. I just want popcorn.
Yeah.
She go up to the kitchen. I remember this so well. It's so weird. And she's standing where the microwave is, in a corner in the kitchen like that.
Okay.
And I'm too stoned, so I do the stupidest mistake ever. I thought, oh well, it's a stupid mistake. So I kissed her,
Okay.
and she gets so pissed off, of course.
Yeah.
And I just, what the fuck did I do? So I just forget about the popcorn. I just go straight up, go to bed. But in the morning, I wake up, and we open, because everybody has the bedrooms on the upper floor.
Yep.
And she and me open the door in the morning. I feel so ashamed. And I say, sorry. And she just, no, we blame the wine.
Yeah. Well, I think
And
if you
I,
got sort of foster
Yeah.
children staying and you're letting them get drunk and smoke a bunch of weed.
And, yeah, it's so weird. And after 2 days or something, she started to make weird,
Gestures and sort of
Yeah.
just interactions.
Yeah.
And, okay. Weird signals.
because I'm talking with my girlfriend one day on the phone, and I see she's coming and going, and she starts just touching my legs like that.
Okay.
Weird thing. And I just, what the fuck? And this day is summertime, so I came in November. So this must no.
Sounds like one of these penthouse stories or something.
You can write a story. This weird Playboy
So this is
story.
Sweden. So this is Sweden. Okay.
This is
This is
Sweden.
Sweden.
In the 90s,
Yeah.
late 90s. So we are going just to the beach. It was like a small lake. And she sent away that because they have arrived 2 other kids to this place.
Yep.
So they going with her husband, and I have to sit, and I'm still ashamed. This is like 2 days after. or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like that.
yep.
Shit. I don't want to sit in a car with her at all.
Yep.
But we ended up, we're going for fill up the tank on the car. I'm just quiet, just looking straight out the window. Yes, I don't want to be here. I feel so ashamed. And then when we're going, why you so quiet? And I said, because of what happened, I did this. And she just put her hand on my lap. But, well, that we can do again. And
She said this?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I just want to sink through the floor of the car and just disappear. I didn't know what to do. I'm 16-year-old. I had sex with one woman before, and that's
Yeah.
my girlfriend.
Yeah.
And she's 40.
40.
And I just, what is going on? And she's hot as
Yeah.
well trained. She trained in jiu-jitsu, so she's super fit. And yes, I don't know what I'm gonna do now. So we go to this beach, and so I'm just confused. Just super
Yeah.
confused. And then the day after,
Did you speak like to the other? Because you said there was
No.
another 2.
No, I
who
didn't.
nuts,
No,
so
I didn't say anything. I just
She's sort of going through everybody.
Yeah, because it just was weird, everything. And
Yeah.
then the day after, everybody else left. She but took my hand, dragged me up to the bedroom, and sucked me off. And
What?
Yeah, and then after that, we just starting to have this sexual relationship.
And so she's married. Like,
Yeah,
this was
she's
just like,
married, and she has 2 children. 1 kid, 1 year younger than me. her other kid 1 year older than me. So I'm 16, her kid 15 and 17. This is just crazy. And here I came to, I had this hope that everything gonna go.
Yeah.
And now I'm feeling this, because I like her husband.
Yeah.
Really, he
Yeah,
really taught me a lot, because I had about, when I went to this Forstorm, I had about $30,000 in debt.
Oh,
Because
at 16.
yeah, at 16,
From what? Like what?
stealing cars and crashing them, doing break-ins, and a lot of, I think I was a lot of cars.
Okay.
Because me and my friend, I got caught because I'm dark skinned. All my friends looked alike.
Yeah, so
Blonde
so
Swedish
yeah,
guys,
Sweden.
just
It's
like-
like, yeah, he's Swedish. He's blonde in Sweden. Go find him.
And it was this dark kid, and that
Yeah.
was me. So we see this dark kid, and it's only me doing stupid things in our area. So
Okay,
I
yeah,
just got
yeah, you
arrested,
sort of stand
and
out,
I didn't
yeah.
rat them out. So I got all the debt on me.
Yep.
So, but what he taught me, we're going back to the sex story, guys. Don't
Okay.
worry, we're going back, don't worry. But what he taught me was like, you need to take responsibility for what you're doing.
Yep.
So he taught me that all this, I don't know, what's the name of these companies that if a private person it's a crime or something, the insurance companies sell the debt to a
Like a debt collector.
yeah,
sort of
yeah,
thing. Okay.
yeah,
Yep.
debt collector. So most of this debt was as debt collectors.
Yep.
But he told me, if you call the actual person you done this crime to and make a deal, you're gonna get the debt down a lot.
Okay.
Because these collecting, they just
They have they have their fees and everything.
yeah. And I just, what? So now he printed out a list on all the names I have to call. And I just, do you mean I'm going to call the people that I've stolen things from and doing
Yeah.
crime?
Yeah.
That's what you're going to do.
Yep.
I can't do that. Why you can't do that? No, but they're going to be pissed off. Yeah, but wouldn't you be pissed off?
Yeah.
But what would you say if somebody called you and
Sounds like some kind of tactic to get you to confess your your guilt or something almost. So, you know.
It was very weird. So I remember that he gave me this list and he said, "You want this 30,000 or you want them less? Because you're gonna pay it in one way or another."
Well, that's 60. Because see, I would have thought that would have gone on to your parents though.
No.
That's it. No.
No,
Huh?
it's gone in my
Yeah,
name.
it's gone, yeah, okay.
My name.
yeah, okay.
So
Like not being a minor or anything. That doesn't.
no, I don't because I did a crime.
Not that that's ideal anyway, but I mean, you know, sort of.
I wish
What
it
is-
went
what
to
is
my
that?
parents and they
Yeah,
could
is
pay
it?
them, but nope.
Yeah.
So I have to sit, and this was such a valuable lesson.
Yeah.
Because I remember I was sitting. It took me 1 hour to get the phone up and dial the number, call the first person,
Yeah.
and I just, hey, I'm Martin. I stole your car. I'm very sorry.
Yeah.
And of all the numbers, it was only one that told me to.
So this would. So you made the phone calls before all this sort of happened.
No.
going with- this was at the same time.
Yeah,
at the same, okay,
same
yeah.
time. So he and me had this father-son relationship.
Okay, sorry, yeah. So okay, now
Yeah,
I'm following.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
all right. So he's the one who got
Yeah,
you. Yeah,
he-
okay.
he's
He's
the-
the one.
he's
okay.
the man.
Yeah, now I'm following.
The
yeah, I'm following.
father.
Yep.
The foster father.
Yeah.
So he doing his.
this is how you repay him then for all the valuable life lessons.
So yeah, he making me a man in valuable, and she making me a man.
No, different ways. Well, there you go. That's
So-
doing their job.
So he really had me to face my stupid mistakes.
Yeah.
And that was really good. But so I did that and got the debt down a little
Yeah.
and so on. But at the same time, they promised me a lot of things, like it's better you live here with us and we fix you an apartment, because I
Well, now you know why she was saying it at least.
she
so,
like
yeah.
she like chocolate boys, I
Yeah.
guess. Young
Apparently
ones.
so.
So, and he had his company with chimney cleaners. So I was the darkest chimney cleaner they have in the area, that's for
Yeah.
sure. So I had a job with them and
Yep.
did little study also. But I remember from nowhere one dinner, everybody sitting and eating.
Yep.
And he from nowhere says out loud, the person that touched my wife goes home in a body bag. And I just,
Yeah.
and I just,
It's like, oh,
what
shit.
where did that come from?
Yep.
And so I don't know.
How long after it happened did you?
Yeah, maybe because we had a
So he's definitely talking about you. So you.
yeah, it must be because I don't know if she made
Maybe.
some mistakes or whatever it was, but something was weird. Maybe 1.5 months in our relationship.
Yeah.
Because she had this weird behavior to come and knock on my door before everybody went up and said, "You don't need to go to school today." So
Okay,
that was it.
yeah, that
Everybody
was the-
left, and then it was
Okay,
just
so
like-
this was becoming a regular
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And
yeah.
I could be working down and piling wood and everything,
Yeah.
and she has come.
He's like, oh, you need a break?
Yeah.
Oh, get you something to drink.
A classic
Yeah.
sentence was like, "Do you really need to do this right now?"
Yeah. Okay.
And I had, probably not.
Totally. Okay.
you
You
come
know what
up,
that
so-
means. So.
And she did. She really risked a lot of things. And for me as a 16-year-old, was just
Yeah, I know. Well, that's.
there was heaven
Yeah.
at the same time.
But at the same, yeah, I mean, it's
super confusing.
yeah,
And
and obviously everything prior that you'd been through, and the reason that you were even there in the first place.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
suppose it's sort of
yeah, it was really. And then suddenly she started to be very like,
sort of
oh,
distant. Or,
yeah, we can't do this anymore.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was a horny teenager.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what is going on?
Yeah.
And I remember going home for Christmas. This must be Christmas '97.
Yep.
And they have this other kid who they didn't treat so well. He was very weird.
Okay.
But
yeah.
he was nice, a good
Yeah.
heart, but he was very weird. Also adopted,
Yep.
I think. And he called me when I was at my parents' back in Kalmar, and he was crying because they treat me very bad, and I don't know what to do. And can you help me? And I'm coming back in a couple of days, but I don't know. And as a wild teenager, I said, burn the house down. And I didn't really mean
Just-
that. Of course not. I don't want them
Yeah,
to
just
burn the house. but
throwaway line.
yeah,
Really.
yeah, it was just burn the house down. And then we hear this click. And I asked, hey, did you hang up the phone? No, I'm still here. And I asked, oh no.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So they've been listening to our talk.
yeah.
And she been listening to the talk.
Yep.
So she find the reason to finish this sexual relationship by using that threat that I say that you're going
Yeah.
to burn down the house. Like,
Yeah.
so she called social service and said, I'm not welcome anymore because I
Okay,
was
yeah.
threatening of burning down the house.
Yep.
So I couldn't go there anymore.
Okay.
Then I
yep.
get pissed off
Yep.
and wrote this stupid letter to say, hey, you need to send me you need to send me 40,000 Swedish crowns, otherwise I'm going to go to the police for what you did to me.
Yep.
But my father saw that letter and got pissed off because nobody believed me.
Okay.
My
yeah.
Swedish parents didn't believe me
Yep.
because they asked, why they sending you home? And I didn't want to say
Yeah.
this because how am I going to say this to my parents?
Yep.
But then I got some courage and I had sex with her. And they just laughed at me. And I just, what is
Really?
going on?
Okay. Yeah.
And I believe, I can understand them because I've just been lying all my life and
Yeah.
doing crimes and everything.
Yeah.
But I think it was my father that told me, okay, then you do a police report.
Yep.
So I did a police report over this. And I didn't really mind it.
Yeah.
We had sex. It was
Yeah,
great.
yeah,
My
yeah.
first anal. What the fuck can I complain about? just
So-
sex like crazy
Yeah.
and so on. So I can't really complain. But I was pissed off because they
Yeah. Well,
promised
that's what.
me
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so many things, and
Yeah.
now they just send me home over
Yeah.
something that I really didn't mean.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, to just sort of.
I tried
Yeah,
to
just,
protect him and help
yeah,
him,
yeah.
but anyway, nobody believed me.
Yeah.
I came home, and I had this dream because I remember I started writing when I was at this place for over a year. I was there 14 months before they sent me home, I think, something like that, or 12 months or whatever it was. And I had this dream to move, find my family, and it's always been with me.
Yep.
But then when I get sent home, my parents was confused and angry because I was not supposed to come home.
Yep.
I went out with my friends, and then this must been, I don't know, a couple of days before I turned 18, and we got high on speed. And,
Okay.
it's super
Just one thing
yeah,
after another.
Yeah,
Jesus.
it was just
It's crazy,
I was
crazy.
just crazy as
Yeah.
a young, and it was no buses home.
Yep.
Because from my friend's house into the city, it was about 10 kilometers.
Yep.
And it was no buses, and it's a long way to walk. So I steal a car.
Okay.
Very
Okay.
good.
Not just stay at his place or anything. You
No,
just
no, steal a car.
car.
And of course, police sees that and chase me. And we're going for this chase.
Yes, yep.
And I managed, I thought, be a little smart. So they are behind me, but they have this super turbo car. So I just hear the turbo coming after me.
Like a police car, I
Yeah,
suppose.
so
Yeah,
I
they
just
have to-
hit the brakes.
Yeah.
So they just got in front of me.
Yep.
And
So
I
this
just-
you and the friend, or just you?
No, just
Just-
me.
just you,
He
yeah.
already went home with some
Yeah,
girl or
yeah,
something, and I
yeah.
just want to go home.
Yeah.
Because we have smoke and everything on,
Okay.
so we
This
just
is
want to come
like-
down.
okay.
I was
So-
so high
yeah.
also. So, and I just opened the door and ran out and just straight into small forest or something like that.
Yep.
And then I just hear behind me this damn canine.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's when they get the dogs
let
out.
The canine out, and
So-
I just feel this dog just both paws on my back and just
Yeah.
turn me down, and they come with guns.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. Whatever are you doing? And then they see that it's me. Oh, Martin, it's time to get out of it. And
Oh, they actually knew.
yeah, they saw it was me. Yeah, I was pretty.
Yeah,
Yeah,
crazy
they know
times,
me.
crazy times.
So they just put handcuffs on me and put me in the middle of the street.
Okay, yep.
So all the cars that coming, just headlights on, and just see who's sitting in the street. That
Yeah.
was so awful. So everything just escalated after that,
Yeah.
and
So you're about 18 then at
yeah,
this point. So
and up from 18, because I started with speed.
Yeah.
It just escalated, and I at that time also, I think 19. The rave and the clubbing started to be interesting in our
yeah,
hometown.
I suppose late 90s.
Yeah,
sort of,
and ecstasy, LSD, and everything.
Yep.
And because I never felt happy, so when I tried ecstasy for the first time,
Yeah, see, I've never.
no, don't
No.
don't go on that road now.
No. Oh, I'm a
But-
bit
but
too
it-
old for that now, I think so.
So that really just, I think my best friends, they still know. I was on my knees and just screaming, why haven't you told me this before? I never felt such a happiness and
Yeah.
everything. And of course I want to feel like that all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
So I started to use that a lot.
Okay.
So that become my addiction really.
Yeah.
And with that, I think.
How long would you say that lasted?
So I think I got hooked on ecstasy 19,
Yep.
and I was really in a bad condition around my 20s, and had to go to rehab.
Okay. Yep.
My first rehab, and yeah, I was like 40 kilos and just yeah.
How tall are you? You're all
I'm
about
170, but that's
5'7",
5'7",
5'7".
yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I'm also
Well,
Sri Lankan, so
yeah,
I'm very
a
skinny.
lot of-
But that's very little.
Yeah,
40
yeah,
kilos.
geez. God, I haven't been that since I was probably about 12.
No.
So-
So they sent me to this home for 3 months. So, but I really just eat and just was clean.
Yep.
And then I came out 3 days, and then I was on it again.
suppose without sort of dealing with the root cause of the,
No.
it's just a continual cycle,
Yeah,
I guess.
and I didn't.
Yeah.
I really like doing drugs,
Yeah.
but like everybody else that's hooked on drugs, I guess we like doing drugs, but we hate the consequences.
Yeah.
But you
Yeah.
can't get rid
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
consequences.
yes. Yep.
And all this overdosing.
Yeah.
I had this very. I think I was dead. I think because
Yep.
I just the amount of ecstasy I have to take to. I think I was on like 16 tablets to get this really strong feeling.
So that's a lot. Is it
Yeah,
like, see, I don't know
normally you should
anything.
be-
Like,
yeah,
you
at
normally what you take like one or so.
Yeah, at that time was ecstasy pretty strong,
Yeah.
and you should be fine with 2 tablets over
Okay.
a whole night, and I was popping 16.
Well, you take what you can get.
And because I had this heavy drug use, I started to selling also.
Okay.
So
Yep.
so that goes hand in hand,
Yeah,
more or
yeah,
less, and
yeah.
then the crime started. So it was just a mess.
Yep.
But always had this hope that I always know that it's gonna be fine, but I had no idea how.
Yep. Yeah, yeah. Just at some point something's going to change, but you just don't know.
Yeah,
Don't know what. So.
I wanted to be clean.
Yep.
I really wanted.
Well, I think everybody in that situation does, I suppose, but it's just a matter of
it
yeah,
was
sort of-
insane
yeah.
because when you don't have money and you need
Yep.
to just continue to feed this behavior,
Yeah.
and
Were you in touch with your parents at this point?
they had to cut me
So
off.
that's- yeah.
They told me like, you don't come home. We need to take care of your brothers. You're making us such a mess, and I understand their decision. They
Yeah.
said, we're not gonna give you cash.
Yeah.
You need food. You call us,
Yeah.
and we put the food outside your door because I lived in my own apartment at that time.
Yeah.
So they did that, but they just say you don't.
So this
come.
was sort of through your like most of your 20s,
Yeah.
really at this point.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
And
You weren't working except for the.
I was working. My first real job was I worked in a cafe, and then I started working in the hotel and restaurants.
Yep.
And as a waiter, and I was pretty good as a waiter because I'm just a lying snake. So it was very easy to
That's what I-
entertain people.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just
yeah.
play on all weird things. So I was working, but then I also started stealing at work and got kicked from that work, and then I got a new work, and because I had no money and I just wanted to have food, and I remember like not having food, just buying drugs for my
Yeah.
like,
Sort of one or the other, and you
yeah,
sort of
and I
make
always choose
make
the
that
drugs,
choice.
and it's so insane. I remember I go to my fridge so many times and open it, and it's only this stupid red onion on an empty butter packet, and I just
Okay.
like I wishing that, and I went to this fridge so many times over the day, like
Yeah.
oh somebody
Just expecting something to just appear,
Somebody.
just
so
yeah.
but
I do that all the time, anyways.
just a big Christmas ham in
Yeah.
there. It's such a weird behavior. But after that, I went to that place for 3 months, and then
Yeah.
I realized later on I really need help. I
Yeah.
really need help because I can't solve this problem.
Yeah.
I can't even take 1 day of drugs without.
Yeah,
feeling
yeah.
that
And when it's to that point, it's
yeah,
that could be the end at any
yeah,
at any
and
point.
It,
sort of.
it
Yeah.
was, and I started to get suicidal, and
Yeah.
yes, fuck, I don't want to live this life. Is this
Yeah.
how life's gonna be?
Yeah.
I don't want to be in it.
Yep.
If this, what is this?
Yeah.
And then I see my other friends that could take drugs and just party, and then but I
yeah.
couldn't do that.
Yeah.
It was on
It's obviously something mentally as well that sort of was just.
mental stupid.
just sort of,
Yeah, just maniac. And I also epilepsy.
Yeah. I think that's what, with the lights.
yeah.
So you've got that too.
Yeah, because
Okay.
I don't know if this is a saying or if it's some people told that it was like brain sap because
Yeah.
if you eat so much ecstasy, I don't know if this medicine is true or
Yep.
anything, but your body start producing serotonin and dopamine because you put it in yourself all the time
Okay.
I'm not sure about that, but every night I have these flashes in my head which made me in the end to just faint.
Even still, yeah, all back
yeah,
then.
yeah, back then.
Back then, yeah.
And I went to the hospital, and they just told me because my mother's neighbor worked at the ER, and she
Okay.
met me many times, and she said, you need to stop doing drugs.
Yeah.
This will continue until you stop doing drugs.
Yep.
You can't come up here all the time with this problem because the only solution is you stop doing drugs. No.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. I
no.
suppose. Yeah. At that time.
So that was really, it was awful. And
Yeah.
then I had this picture of that I'm gonna go back to same home, but doing it better. But
Yeah.
social service, no.
Yeah.
We're not gonna spend time.
Well, you'd be an adult by then, I
Yeah,
suppose,
I was
as well.
20. Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
that's
so
right,
I was 22 when I took that step to seek for really good help.
Yep.
But I still wanted to go to this place because you can just eat and fishing.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
But they just, no, you go to this place. And I just got so pissed off, like an angry teenager. I'm not going to go this. Well, here is, she gave me some pamphlets of what this place was about.
Yeah.
But the funny thing, they have pictures. I didn't read anything that was saying. I just look at the pictures.
Yep.
And the picture was one gym, one lake, and one tennis court. And I just sports.
Yeah.
Sports,
Yeah.
because I've always been into sports.
Yeah.
I did track and field. I've always been into activity.
Yeah.
And I just, without reading anything about this place, I just call her up. Yes, I'm going.
Yep.
And this is a hardcore 12-step
Like a rehab.
Rehab.
Yep.
with therapy from 8 in the morning to 4 in the afternoon, 3 mandatory or 4 mandatory AA or NA meetings. And what did I sign up to?
So do you have to pay for this, or is it all?
No,
Okay.
it's a law in Sweden that if you get addicted or have substance abuse, the society pays for your rehab.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I went there and I stayed 5.5 months.
Yep.
I did, and that I managed to be clean for 23 months, I think.
Okay.
After
Yep.
that, I went into this 12-step, in my opinion, little cult. But I thank 12-step NA from the bottom of my heart. They helped me in my young years so much. I don't use NA or 12 steps anymore. I use something that's named Smart Recovery.
Yeah. You said about that. Yep.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I use. But that didn't. I started to doing drugs again, and then I went back to 12 steps. So I had this on and off for many years.
Yep.
But life become better and better.
Yep.
But then I had this. It's a long story.
Well, we're at 50. Do you want to do it to part one, part two, or
we can do a part two. So
part two?
because
So
after,
check, make sure this thing's recording. Well, I mean, it's recording.
yeah,
So it was,
I think we do a part two because the second part is really how I ended up in Sri Lanka and how I
think
find
yeah,
my family.
yeah, I think about one sort of
Yeah,
background,
yeah.
the reason why, and then
Because
what it sort of leads into. Yeah.
I went to this rehab 2002
Okay. Yep.
in the spring.
Yep.
I remember. So we can take it from there next
Yep.
time.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Definitely a very, very interesting story. Learned a lot myself because as we've sort of said, sort of don't really know that much about each other.
Now you
As it
never
is
want
now,
to hang out.
now, not a bit too much, I think. So,
That's it.
so yeah, very interesting
Yeah.
to hear. So
The second part gets
a little bit,
but
bit more PG as well.
yeah, little, but I did a lot of mistakes to become the person I am today.
Yeah.
And I don't know. what they say, that wise people learn from other people's mistakes.
Yeah,
and,
yeah,
But I just have to do a lot of mistakes to understand that I'm responsible for
Yeah,
my
I
life.
mean, everybody sort of
Because
has
I
their
blame
own
the whole
story.
world.
So yeah,
I blamed everybody
Yeah.
for my. I
Yeah.
blamed the adoption. I blamed my Swedish parents. I blamed Sri Lanka. I blamed Sweden. I blamed everybody.
yeah,
But like, to be really honest, 98% what's happened in my life, I have my whole hand or at least 2 or 3 fingers in
yeah.
everything.
yeah,
That's
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
just how it is.
yeah.
I can't. I think everybody gets handed the
Well, that's-
hands of cards.
Yeah, I suppose you can't take like sort of responsibility for the good things
No,
and sort of say I did this,
no.
but then not say, well, hang on, yeah, but I didn't do that. I
Yeah.
don't want any part of that. But I did all the good things,
Yeah.
but all the bad stuff had nothing to do with that. I suppose you
You
got
need to own up to everything.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I just think that it's very important.
Yeah.
Because for me, before I could look at my mistakes and really,
Yeah,
I did this.
yeah,
I fucked up my life. It's
Yeah.
not my parents. It's not the Swedish government. It's not my mother.
yeah,
It's how I didn't be able to treat my own feelings
yeah,
in a good way.
yep. No. All right, well, we'll leave it there
Yeah.
for now, I suppose, and then yeah, we'll
Part 2
part
of
2.
craziness.
Yeah, and that's the actual then moving here,
Yeah.
I suppose, and then
Yeah.
how it's sort of go from there. So
It brings up a lot of things. I
Yeah.
must
Yeah, it
say.
would.
It was
Yep.
a long time since I talked about this Fostorm.
yeah,
Great sex, by the way.
yeah.
So, yeah.
I'll have to move to check out Sweden at some point.
Yeah, go
by
back
by
to
the sounds of it. So
I don't encourage anybody to do crimes to end up in Fostorm. But
But
if you end up
if
in
it-
Fostorm, let it be a
Yeah,
good MILF living there.
yeah, sort of. All right, leave it there.
See you next time.